Imagine waking up, grabbing your phone, and the first thing you see is exactly what you're likely to click. Not because you consciously chose it, but because an AI predicted it. Creepy? Maybe. Convenient? Definitely. But here's the twist. Every time you click, swipe, or like, the algorithm learns more about you and nudges you in return. Today, we're exploring how those tiny nudges add up to something profound. Your digital embedding, slowly training you to become a certain version of yourself. This isn't science fiction or a Black Mirror episode. It's happening every day on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Netflix, basically anywhere algorithms live. In this video, we'll see how small algorithmic pushes can snowball into habit changes, how the AI's profile of you, your embedding, a fancy term for a mathematical user profile, can predict and shape your choices, and why personalization can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm Dr. Dude. Let's abide and get in it. Let's start with the little things, the nudges. Ever notice how YouTube autoplays the next video if you don't hit pause fast enough? Or how Netflix cheekily starts the next episode in 3, 2, 1? These are tiny design tricks, algorithmic nudges, and they are incredibly effective at shaping our behavior. One moment you plan to watch a single 10-minute clip, and the next thing you know, you've fallen down a 3-hour rabbit hole of content you never explicitly chose. It wasn't you deciding to binge, it was a subtle nudge doing the heavy lifting. Tech platforms have mastered the art of the gentle push. They've studied behavioral psychology and figured out that small changes in how choices are presented can lead to big changes in what you do. In behavioral science, this is known as nudge theory, and Silicon Valley has weaponized it for engagement. For instance, Facebook once conducted a now infamous experiment on 689,000 users by tweaking the mix of positive and negative posts in their newsfeed without users knowing. The result? It actually changed those users' moods and posting behavior. When shown fewer positive posts from friends, people made fewer positive posts themselves, and similarly with negative posts. In other words, a few algorithmic keystrokes influenced whether thousands of people felt upbeat or downcast on any given day. If that's not habit shaping, what is? These platforms run thousands of A/B tests and micro experiments to find the perfect ways to keep us hooked. No detail is too small. Google famously tested 41 different shades of blue for their link color just to see which exact hue made users click ads more. And it worked, netting them an estimated $200 million extra in ad revenue. Think about that. Even the color of a button was tweaked to subtly guide your behavior. In this case, clicking. If companies are willing to fine-tune colors for maximum effect, imagine how finely tuned the content recommendations are. Every recommended for you item, every notification, so-and-so liked your post, every autoplay feature is a calculated nudge designed to keep you engaged. Over time, these nudges don't just make you watch more, they can change when you watch, what you watch, and even how you feel while watching. In short, our habits, from our daily scroll routines to our late-night binge sessions, are often the cumulative result of countless tiny algorithmic suggestions. To put it humorously, an app's algorithm is like that overly helpful friend who says, "Oh, since you like that, you have to try this." Except the friend is an AI. It knows 1,000,000 times more about your behavior patterns, and it never sleeps. You might think you're randomly deciding to check your phone at 7 a.m., but maybe it was a well-timed push notification. Your friend posted a new story that prompted you. These small pushes gently steer our routines. Sure, you still have free will. You could ignore that notification or refuse to watch the next autoplay video, but be honest, how often do we resist? The nudges are usually aligned with what we're likely to do anyway, which is exactly why they're so effective. The takeaway is equal parts fascinating and unsettling. Change the environment and you change the person. Social apps and websites are our digital environment, and by shaping that environment, algorithms can shape us. From the timing of an alert to the arrangement of your feed, these little tweaks can encourage you to form new habits without you fully realizing. Maybe you start reading news every morning because your phone pushes a news digest at 8 a.m. Maybe you develop a habit of buying snacks online at midnight because an app learned when your willpower is lowest and dangled a 15% off coupon at just the right time. Each individual nudge might be trivial, barely noticeable, but add them up across months and years, and they can steer the course of your behavior. So next time you catch yourself doing something routine on an app, ask, Did I choose this habit, or was I nudged into it? Often, it's a bit of both. The algorithms set the path, and we, thinking we're acting on our own, follow it. And that sets the stage for the deeper topic. These same systems that influence our habits are also busy learning who we are in order to predict and influence not just our clicks, but some of the most important choices in our lives. By now you might be wondering, how can an algorithm seem to know you so well? The answer lies in something called your embedding, essentially the AI's internal profile or model of you. Think of it as a multi-dimensional fingerprint or a digital clone built from your data. Every like, every watch, every pause, every purchase contributes to this profile. In the world of AI, an embedding is just a bunch of numbers that represent something, in this case, you. In fact, one data scientist described a user embedding as simply a mathematical fingerprint of the user. It's like the algorithm's version of your soul. Okay, not literally your soul, but the statistical essence of your preferences. Your embedding is why platforms can predict your behavior with spooky accuracy. It's not magic, it's math, powered by tons of data and some clever machine learning. And its predictive power is far-reaching. It doesn't stop at guessing which song you want to hear or which video you'll click. It can forecast with unnerving precision a lot of things about you. Here are just a few examples of what your embedding can predict or infer what you'll watch. Ever felt like Netflix or YouTube really gets your taste in shows? That's your embedding at work. By analyzing your watch history and comparing it with millions of others, the algorithm has a good idea whether you're in the mood for a mind-bending sci-fi, a silly cat video, or a DIY home repair tutorial. It's why after you finish one series, Netflix confidently serves up a new one you end up loving. The platform's AI has effectively clustered you into a particular taste profile. On YouTube, this is why a single video on, say, vintage jazz can lead your entire homepage to fill up with Ella Fitzgerald and Miles Davis. The algorithm isn't just guessing, it knows that viewers who liked what you liked also enjoyed these other picks. Sometimes the system even uncovers interests you haven't fully articulated yourself. You watch one woodworking video out of curiosity, and suddenly you're like, I am kind of into woodworking, as dozens of carpentry videos flood your recommendations. In a funny way, it predicts what you'll watch before you consciously decide, and often it's spot on. What you'll buy. Those targeted ads that follow you around are no coincidence. They're powered by your embedding and a legion of advertiser algorithms. Amazon's recommendation engine can often guess which product you're likely to add to cart next, sometimes even before you knew you needed it. Ever had that eerie experience where you're browsing and Amazon flashes frequently bought next and you think, you know what, I do need that gadget? It's not that Amazon can read minds, it's that people with viewing shopping patterns like yours tend to buy similar things, and the algorithm has learned those patterns. This goes beyond shopping sites. Facebook and Google analyze your posts, searches, and likes to infer incredibly detailed things, whether you're a thrill seeker or a homebody, whether you've got a baby on the way, even if you might be feeling depressed. In one Stanford study, researchers found that with just 300 Facebook likes, an AI could predict a person's personality traits better than that person's own friends could. Yes, you read that right. An algorithm might know you better than your buddies of 10 years. Give it a few more weeks of data and it might know you better than your family. No wonder sometimes an ad pops up that feels uncomfortably tailored to you, because it is. The algorithm might have figured out you're shopping for a new car or trying to eat healthier long before you announce it to anyone. Who you'll date, love and algorithms. What a romantic combo. If you're on dating apps, you've probably sensed there's a method to the matchmaking madness. Dating apps use your swipes, messages, and profile info to build an embedding of your type and preferences. The app then serves you profiles of people it predicts you'll find attractive or compatible. Over time, it learns your patterns. Do you tend to like outdoorsy folks? People with a certain sense of humor? Those who share your taste in music? The algorithm picks up on all that. In fact, dating apps essentially embed each user as a vector in a huge dating landscape and then try to pair up vectors that sit close together, i.e., people who seem likely to hit it off. The spooky part is how well this can work. It's possible the app knows your type better than you consciously do. you might say you're open-minded. But if you consistently swipe right on tall, nerdy cat lovers, the AI notices and will happily keep showing you more tall, nerdy cat lovers. There's a flip side. By only showing you what it thinks you want, it can kind of trap you in a dating comfort zone. Who knows? Maybe your soulmate was that punk rock scuba diver the app didn't show you because they were outside your usual type. Nonetheless, in practice, these algorithms do predict, with alarming accuracy, who you're likely to swipe right or left on. It's automated Cupid. Pop culture often portrays destiny bringing lovers together, but today, destiny might just be a clever matching algorithm on a server. Kind of takes the spontaneity out of it, but hey, it works. What you'll believe. Perhaps the most consequential of all, algorithms are getting eerily good at predicting and shaping our beliefs and opinions. Social media feeds are personalized to the point where your embedding all but determines the news you see and the posts that populate your timeline. If the AI has profiled you as someone leaning a bit left politically, your Facebook or X, formerly Twitter feed will likely show you more left-leaning content. Same for the right. Over time, you end up seeing a curated slice of reality tailored to you. This isn't just a prediction of what you'll click, it influences what information you consume and thereby what you come to accept as true. Filter bubbles form, where each of us is cocooned in a comfortable info stream that reinforces our existing worldview. It's to the point that two people with different embeddings, say, one prone to liberal content, one to conservative content, will open the same app and see completely different realities. The algorithm confidently predicts what each will agree with or find engaging and serves up more of that. The result? It predicts what you'll believe by showing you content aligned with those predicted beliefs, which in turn makes you believe it even more. This dynamic has a name: algorithmic radicalization. On platforms like YouTube and Facebook, studies and observers have noted that the recommendation engines often guide users toward gradually more extreme content to keep them engaged. For example, watch one video doubting the moon landing, and soon the up next suggestions include flat earth conspiracies and wild hoaxes. The system figured you have a conspiratorial curiosity and feeds it, and lo and behold, some people go down the rabbit hole and come out true believers of very fringe ideas. The algorithm successfully predicted their interest would escalate, and in doing so, caused the escalation. Even outside of extremes, consider how your everyday opinions might be subtly shaped. What you'll believe about health trends, about which tech company is the best, about which movies are must-see. A lot of it is influenced by what content is algorithmically amplified to you. It's gotten to the point where people joke that we each live in our own reality online. It's a joke until you realize how true it is. In short, your embedding, this rich profile of you, is like your digital twin. It knows, or at least thinks it knows you, in many dimensions. Platforms like TikTok have become almost legendary for this. TikTok's For You algorithm is so sharp that it can zero in on your hidden fascinations frighteningly fast. In one Wall Street Journal investigation, TikTok's system identified some users' core interests in as little as 40 minutes of watching behavior. So if you linger a bit too long on a video of, say, woodworking, don't be surprised when you're suddenly on woodworking TikTok for the next week. This rapid profiling led people to say things like, TikTok knows me better than I know myself. There's a kernel of truth there. These AI systems might catch patterns in your behavior that you haven't noticed. And it's not just TikTok. The same principle applies across the board. Spotify knows your music moods. Instagram's Explore page guesses which hobbies or aesthetics will catch your eye. Amazon's whole business is built on anticipating your shopping needs. Even language models like GPT-4, the AI behind ChatGPT, use massive embeddings of language data to predict the next word. In a way, they predict what a coherent response or story should be. Now take that idea and apply it to you. The algorithm is trying to predict your next move, next desire, next opinion. One could say our personal embedding is the algorithm's way of completing the sentence. Are you a gamer, a fitness enthusiast, a new parent, a political junkie? The AI fills in the blanks from your data. But here's where things get intriguing and a bit worrisome. What happens when the algorithm not only predicts, but also starts to influence that sentence? There's a classic concept in psychology called a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something about the world, you might unconsciously act in ways that make it come true. In the realm of algorithms and AI, personalization can become a self-fulfilling prophecy on steroids. The algorithm predicts you'll do or like X, so it shows you X, and then lo and behold, you do like X, or at least you engage with it, confirming the algorithm's belief. It's a loop, and it raises the question, did the algorithm accurately read your mind, or did it gently steer you to become the thing it assumed you were? Think about it. If YouTube's algorithm thinks you're the type of person who would enjoy cooking videos, it will start recommending lots of cooking content. Maybe initially you only had a mild interest in baking, but since your feed is now full of fun cake decorating tutorials, you start watching more of them. Next thing you know, you're trying out bread recipes at home. The algorithm's prediction, you'll watch more cooking videos, came true, but partly because of the algorithm's actions, showing you those videos. Personalization has become persuasion. In the words of one tech commentator, AI doesn't just predict behavior, it shapes it. This dynamic is essentially the self-fulfilling prophecy of algorithmic personalization. By tailoring content to an idea of you, the system nudges you to conform to that idea. Eli Pariser, who coined the term filter bubble, described it brilliantly over a decade ago. He warned that when the internet shows us a filtered, personalized world, it might end up changing us to better fit that world. In his words, services may end up creating a good fit between you and your media by changing you. We're now on the verge of self-fulfilling identities, in which the internet's distorted picture of us becomes who we really are. Read that again. It's a chilling thought. The distorted picture, your profile as seen by an algorithm, becomes reality over time. The false definition of you becomes the true you. Concrete example, imagine a music app's algorithm decides you're really into mellow acoustic songs, perhaps because one evening you played a lot of Jack Johnson. So the app's homepage from then on heavily features acoustic folk music. You start listening to those suggestions. After all, they're right in front of you. You enjoy some, you skip some, but overall, you're now mostly hearing acoustic tunes. Months later, you identify as a bona fide acoustic music fan. Was that always your destiny, or did the act of being fed mostly acoustic music edge you into that identity? The algorithm's prophecy fulfilled itself. Had the app initially tossed in some jazz or classical, maybe you'd be a jazz aficionado now. This isn't to say you have no agency, you can seek out other genres, but most of us take what's given, especially when it's presented as personalized for us. It's flattering and convenient, so why not? The same can happen with news and beliefs. Suppose a newsfeed predicts you'll click sensational articles about celebrity gossip more than sober policy analysis. Not an unreasonable guess for many of us, let's be honest. The feed, wanting to maximize your engagement, starts showing more gossip and fewer policy pieces. Over time, you're less informed about politics and more up-to-date on celebrity drama, which reinforces your apparent lack of interest in policy. The algorithm's initial guess, not a policy wonk, creates a reality where you indeed know less about policy because you see less of it, thereby confirming the guess. This loop can happen with political leanings too, as we discussed. An algorithm thinks you lean left, shows you left-leaning content, and as you consume more of it and less of the other side, you indeed lean more left. The prophecy fulfills itself. Academics have noted this phenomenon in various domains. An Oxford researcher, Muriel Leuenberger, pointed out that constant recommendation feeds can calcify your identity, slowly turning you into what the AI predicts you to be. By recommending products, ads, news, and posts tailored to that initial profile, the system makes you more likely to think and act in ways that suit that profile. In her words, the technology can gradually influence you such that you evolve into who it took you to originally be. That's the self-fulfilling prophecy in a nutshell. The AI's best guess of who you are becomes more and more accurate over time because its influence nudges you to align with that guess. It's as if the algorithm, upon meeting you, writes a character sketch of you, then subtly directs your experiences to match that character. And you, none the wiser, reinforce it by doing what feels naturally you, not realizing part of why it feels natural is because alternatives were filtered out. It's a bit of a mind bender. The you that the AI perceives is partially a creation of the AI's own feedback loop. To use a fun metaphor, think of the sorting hat in Harry Potter. It looks into a student's traits and assigns them to a house. Gryffindor, Slytherin, etc., based on what it sees. But in doing so, it influences that student's path at Hogwarts, their friends, their experiences, maybe even their personality as it develops through their house's culture. Did the hat predict who they already were, or did it help shape who they became? With algorithms, each of us has a kind of sorting hat on our head 24/7, silently classifying and steering us. You like this, so you belong in this camp. Off you go. And off we go, indeed, often happily, down the path laid out. None of this is to say personalization is evil. It can feel wonderfully affirming. Finally, my feed is full of stuff I care about. It's nice when your streaming service serves up movies you actually enjoy instead of random duds. The key is awareness, recognizing that this tailored world can box you in. It's a comfort zone and a cage at the same time. As one witty Medium article put it, the algorithm doesn't just know you, it trains you to be more like the person it predicts. A self-fulfilling loop indeed. One of the strangest consequences of these AI-driven feedback loops is what we might call psychological drift. The slow, almost imperceptible shifting of your identity and preferences over time to align with your algorithmic profile. It's like continental drift, but instead of land masses moving, it's yourself moving in a certain direction. Little by little, your embedding becomes your identity. Picture yourself from 5 years ago. Odds are, your tastes in music, movies, maybe even your opinions on some issues have changed. That's normal. People change with time and experience. But now consider, how many of those experiences were mediated by algorithms showing you specific content? If you spent a lot of time on social media, YouTube, etc., a large chunk of your experiences, what you read, watched, listened to, were filtered by personalization. So it stands to reason that those algorithms had a hand in shaping who you are today. Not entirely, we're not robots yet, but significantly. This psychological drift can manifest in many ways. You might adopt new habits or hobbies because they were repeatedly suggested. You might drop interests that the algorithm didn't feed much. Out of sight, out of mind. More worryingly, your views can harden in one direction because that's the direction the AI kept pushing. It's a gradual process. Nobody wakes up one morning suddenly transformed by an algorithm. Instead, day by day, the content you see nudges you along a trajectory. Let's go through a mini story to illustrate. Meet Sam, an ordinary guy who mildly enjoys politics and also cute dog videos. Online, Sam clicks a couple of clickbait political videos, say a sensational take on a news event, mostly out of curiosity. The algorithm takes note. Sam seems to engage with this kind of spicy political content, so his recommendation feed starts serving more of it and a bit more extreme each time to keep that engagement up. Meanwhile, Sam's seeing fewer posts from the other side of the political spectrum because he hasn't been clicking those as much. As months go by, Sam finds his own opinions becoming more assertive and polarized. It feels organic to him. He's just consuming content and coming to conclusions. But in reality, the range of information he's been exposed to was subtly curated. The Sam of a year ago was more moderate. The Sam of today is more hardline. His embedding, which flagged him as, say, leaning towards one ideology, has effectively pulled his actual self further in that direction through the media he was shown. Sam drifted. Now, not every case is so dramatic, but you likely can find subtle examples in your own life. Maybe you used to have broader music tastes, but after using Spotify's personalized playlists for years, you mainly stick to one genre that it always recommends. Maybe you used to read diverse news sources, but now you mostly read the ones that appear on your Facebook feed. Maybe you had eclectic movie tastes, but Netflix kept funneling you romantic comedies, and over time you've just accepted that I'm a rom-com person, I guess. In all these cases, the profile the algorithm built of you started as a reflection of your preferences, but then it became a bit of a cause of your preferences, consolidating in that direction. Psychologists and tech ethicists are starting to grapple with this phenomenon. It raises questions about personal agency and authenticity. If an AI profile nudges me to become a certain way, is that me or the machine talking? There's no clear line, because in the end, you are the one who clicked or watched or bought. But the options you had were pre-filtered. It's as if an invisible guide curates your menu of life choices each day. You still choose from the menu, but who designed the menu? Social media has a term for an extreme version of this drift: going down the rabbit hole. We touched on it with YouTube and TikTok. The idea is you start at one point and the algorithm gradually feeds you more and more content that is an intensified version of what you engaged with before. Over time, you hardly realize you've drifted to an extreme viewpoint or obsession. It's only in hindsight you think, wow, 6 months ago, I wasn't this deep into this topic. The drift was incremental and largely driven by an algorithm optimizing for engagement, not for your personal growth. Even outside of ideological content, consider lifestyle and identity markers. Have you noticed how people's digital behavior often becomes part of their identity labels? I'm a Pinterest mom, I'm a Twitter news junkie, I'm a gamer, I'm a Netflix binge watcher. Sure, those identities existed before algorithms, but now they're supercharged. The more the platform shows you content reaffirming that identity, the more you embrace it. It's comfortable. The algorithm is effectively saying this is who you are and providing endless validation for it. As a consequence, you might venture out of that identity bubble less often. Why try something completely new if your personalized feed reliably gives you stuff you know you'll like? Thus, psychological drift also sometimes looks like stagnation or narrowing of interests. There's also a concept of algorithmic identity. You plus your data equals a defined persona that the system uses to categorize you. Over a long period, you might find that your real-world self conforms more to that data persona. For instance, if an AI classifies you as an aspiring traveler type because you watched vlogs and liked beach photos, you'll get more travel content, potentially leading you to indeed travel more, or at least fancy yourself a globetrotter in mindset. It's not inherently bad. Maybe it even awakened a passion you genuinely enjoy, but it's noteworthy how the cycle played out. A rather poetic way to sum it up comes again from that insightful essay we referenced earlier. What gets measured gets reinforced, and what gets reinforced becomes your comfort zone. The algorithm measures your behavior, reinforces certain patterns, and those patterns become where you're comfortable operating. Essentially, the algorithm's version of you slowly becomes you. Your embedding, initially just a data construct, has effectively trained its human. Usually we think of it the other way around. Humans train AI models. But here the AI model is training the human behavior. As one live science piece put it, by showing you tailored content, you become more likely to consume, think, and act in the way the system expects, evolving into the person it originally assumed you to be. That's psychological drift. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it raises a final big question, one that will lead us to our cliffhanger. We've seen how your personal embedding, the algorithm's model of you, can influence your habits, choices, even sense of self. But zoom out for a moment. It's not just you that's being nudged and shaped. It's millions of people all at once. Each person is on their own customized trajectory, guided by their own personalized algorithms. So here's the provocative question we'll leave you with and explore next. If embeddings can shape individual identity, what are they doing to our society as a whole? Consider society as the sum of all of us and our interactions. If each of us is being trained in our own little echo chamber, our own you loops, what does that add up to? Are we being pulled apart, each into our separate personalized worlds? Is the fabric of shared reality fraying as a result? On the flip side, can these same mechanisms be used to steer society in positive directions, say, nudging everyone towards healthier habits or greater empathy? Are we heading toward a future where public opinion or cultural trends can be algorithmically engineered by tweaking what billions of people see in their feeds? It's a bit of a cliffhanger indeed. We started with small nudges on a screen and ended up pondering the fate of society. But that's the crux of it. What happens when you take self-fulfilling algorithmic prophecies and scale them up to an entire population? We might get self-fulfilling societies. Echo chambers can polarize entire nations. Recommendation loops can make certain ideas or products go viral globally, effectively shaping culture. The power that these algorithms wield at scale is breathtaking, and maybe a little terrifying. As we wrap up this episode, think about this final thought experiment. In the grand scheme, are we training the algorithms, or are the algorithms training us? The truth is, it's a symbiotic loop, but one that we need to be aware of to navigate. In episode 4, we'll dive into that societal dimension. how the collective impact of millions of personal embeddings might be steering the course of history, or at least messing with our social dynamics in unprecedented ways. Can algorithmic personalization create societal echo chambers or even shift elections? Can it change what we value as a culture? And importantly, what can we do about it? Until then, stay curious and maybe try surprising your algorithms once in a while. Read an article you'd normally skip. Watch a video totally outside your usual taste. Break a small habit. It's fun to remind the AI that the real you isn't a stagnant profile, but a dynamic, unpredictable human being. After all, if there's one thing that keeps life and algorithms interesting, it's the element of surprise. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe, give the video a like, and tell me in the comments which moment made your brain go, "Whoa, this video really tied the room together." I'm Dr. Dude. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.